video. Next video is going to show peeling up your film. So you can see I put my master drawing back on my board where it was, lined up with my register marks. And I just want to actually show you this so you understand how to do it. I actually started from a corner, not from a whole end, and I rotate it out like this, and you'll see it pulls where you have a tight turn on a shape. And as I do this, I'll get stress points like right there, and then it lets go. If it's not letting go, here's a trick. Just take and rotate it and turn the direction that you're pulling in, and then turn back the other way. And you can see the problematic part is right here. It's that shape that wants to stay on, and then there's that little thin vein. And now that edge, you see where it wants to hang. I will say too that it is possible to cut these out as two separate friskets and then adhere them to your screen if you want to not have to do both, pulling your frisket up and cutting them on the same time. I've had students do that when one of them gets messed up, so to speak, in this process, like it tears. So there are fallback positions where you can kind of recoup. And right here you can see it gets a little bit more dicey as I get to the end and I go through these complex shapes. But you notice I rotate the paper around and I try to keep the part that's already up clear. We do have always a case where it sticks to itself. That is difficult, but you can unstick it. The trick is to do it without actually stretching out your frisket, and there I go. So I made an extra simple design here, so that's what my design looks like, just to show you. I'm actually going to just put that over there. I don't throw anything away until I'm sure I don't need it. So now you notice my frisket's upside down. So the sticky side, you can see it's tacky, comes up with my finger. And my design, I purposely did this where everything is attached to the outer edges. I have no fragments that have to be positioned. You can do that, by the way, but it's just, this really gives you a sense of why I keep saying keep shapes attached to each other somehow. Don't create lots of individual little shapes that are disconnected. So I use my X-Acto knife because touching this it'll always want to move, and I tease it into position. And I got to line it up to that outer edge. So this is, you can see where the master drawing is really crucial. I'm getting it lined up right where the master drawing is, which is in line with my register marks. And what I check is that this little piece falling in position. And you can see this is a problem. It's so thin at this end that it wants to kind of curve up. What I'm going to do now is I don't want to handle this frisket too much. If you handle it too much, it starts to bend, stretch, and it loses its tackiness in places, and that's where it might start coming off the screen. So what I'm going to do is call that good. It's in position. You can kind of see, I'll tilt it towards you, maybe I can catch the light here. But that's the way it looks on my screen, on my base, my basinite base. It's not taped down. At this point, I'll actually adjust my camera so you can see this. I have the tilted end up, it's hinged. I'm just going to bring that down, and with my knuckles or the side of your hand, I'm just going to lightly press, and that sound is good. We don't want to use fingers or anything that gets the fingernail in contact. It could potentially rip the screen. Another good practice is, and I should have a piece of paper right there. Here's one. Take a piece of paper for more pressure, and this is where you're actually going to adhere. Why do I do this? Well, it protects the screen, but it also keeps my skin oil off the screen. Tin oil resists water, so your frisket, or it actually resists the glue too. The frisket might lift during printing. So now you lift, and what you're going to see, hopefully, is everything attached in position. So what I'm going to do is bring this around, and you see if I can get the light to reflect off of it. There we go. And you can see I'm pretty good. I actually don't see much bubbling. You see a little bit of a lift on the edges. Now that's where you want to burnish a little bit more. This troublesome little spike on the vein is not too well attached. That probably would become a problem in printing. What would I do with that? Well, I might actually cut it just a bit shorter. It will change the design. Doing that is very tricky because now it's on the screen, right? But if I look at it and decide, you know what, I think that's a problem, I'm going to go with it. You know, if it fails in printing, in my first few prints, you'll see what a failure looks like. You can recover from that. Students sometimes will, and actually I don't want to press on this way because I got the tension of the screen. So let's actually bring that screen back down. So by the way, your screen is tucked in along these edges. If you do break the screen, you can you can probably go to Dick Blick's or order it online, a replacement screen, and you actually tuck it back in. There's a little tube, plastic tube that pushes in that'll hold it on to stretch it. So at this point, I'm now going to burnish with more force. I'm actually using my fingernail, and I'm just going to kind of go over fingernail and knuckles and just go over all edges. Again, the paper, I really prefer using a piece of paper. I don't like to do this right on the screen. The risk of damaging the screen is greater. And just take another look, you know, do you feel like you've got it adhered to the screen? So I've got a few trouble spots. This vein here is popping up a little bit. I'm getting a little bit of lift over here too. Now there are materials you can use to seal the edges, which we talked about last week. I'm not specifically going to use that here, but if I feel like I've got a problem, I feel that's, I actually just, very shallow angle, I lifted that vein up because I felt it was bent on the screen. It didn't lay down flat. Now I'm going to re-press that down, and it's laying a little bit flatter. I actually check, it's kind of hard if I don't get the light for the video just right. I kind of check to see, do I have any edges coming up a little bit? And I do have some, so I'll actually lay it down again and address those areas directly. And if I feel like I need to see where they are, so I'm going to go right on the screen and just press those edges down with my knuckle. And at that point, I feel like I'm good enough to go. So, show it on the screen. You can see where you see a little bit of bubbling. That's not critical. There's a little bubble that doesn't come to the edge. I'm not going to worry about that. So, having reached that point, your next step is actually taping, which I will show you in the next short video.